and was it chippy tea? And who doesn't like a good chippy tea? I obviously Friday nights. That's me. So yeah, so you're listening to me, Chris Grindley here, and Jason Conrad.
I'm still here.
He's still here. He's in the background, and we have special guest Ash Mandrake here in the studio as well. So just before we get on to you playing your doing your performances and your music, just tell us a bit about yourself, Ash.
Okay, I'm a Manc originally. I'm from Manchester, and basically I went out on the road and toured around for 7 years on the road constantly, living in a car and a caravan, all over the UK. I didn't go to Europe, but I was all over the UK, Kent and Devon, and up in the north, and Cumbria and Newcastle, and I played in Chorley as well. And some people from Chorley came and saw me in Bar 39, and I got to know them. And one day when I was out on the road and my wheel was really strange on my car, and I thought, who do I know close to here? And I called into Chorley, and there was a guy called Dave Benison and Andy, Irish Andy, and I got in contact with them. They helped me out with my wheel, and then I got to know loads of people in Chorley a lot better from that time, and so I spent a fair bit of time up this way.
Yeah. So have you always been into music? Any of you? How long have you been performing?
I stopped boozing when I was 40, and I started playing music. So that was 18 years ago.
18 years.
Yeah, and since then I got it to the level where I could get paid gigs, and then I went out on the road.
Cool. And you brought some of the instruments in. You brought this. There's a little thing underneath here.
Yeah.
Can you just explain this to me?
It's called a loop machine. I'm just going to do a test to see if it's working. Yes, it is. And basically, the way it works is it's a sound capture. So you kick a button like this, and the next time you kick the button, it starts recording over the top. And the only problem is, if you get the kick in the wrong place, you've had it, because it just keeps on coming back and booting you up the backside, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. But what you can do is build up these soundscapes with harmonies. Da-dee, ba-ba-dee, do-dee, da-ba-dee, ba-ba-dee-dee-dee. And you can even do some beatboxing over the top. And so then you've got a backing track, and then if you want to do a little bit of singing, and so you can build a song like that and do it live, and just improvise and make mischief with it, and drives the neighbours completely round the bend.
I can imagine it does. But we're going to be hearing more from that, because you're going to do a performance with that, aren't you?
Yes, I will. Yeah, I'm going to do a piece called The Tower of Gold.
Yes, and we're really looking forward to listening to that, to hearing that one. But anyway, on with the music now, and Peter Gabriel and Salisbury Hill. She's there, and dear Prudence, she still, I think she's still going. She's still, to me, very much a goth icon. You know, I went to watch her season of tribute, see the Banshees tribute act last year when I was at Whitby, the Whitby Goth weekend, which was absolutely fantastic. But anyway, if you want to get in touch with me here in the studio, if you want to request a song or dedicate a song to someone, you can do so by dialing star 800. That's free from your bedside, or you can contact us through our social media, so Facebook, X, or I'm still getting confused. It's to me it's still Twitter, but we call it X now, and also on Instagram. Just type in Chorley Hospital Radio and it'll bring it up, bring profiles up. And also you can also send requests in to requests@chrweb.org.uk. But here in the studio we've got we've got a special guest, Ash Mandrake, and he's got his guitar ready and he's ready to perform. But before you do, just tell us a bit about this particular guitar.
Little guitar I've got here. It's called a Trez.
Okay.
And tres means three.
Yeah.
3 sets of strings. But all the sets of strings are octaves. So if you think of a 12 string and you cut a 12 string neck in half and you've got 3 sets of double strings instead of 6, that's what this is. It's half a 12 string. And in my live show I use quite a lot of unusual guitars, and this is one of 8 guitars that I worked on during the lockdown. I worked on some bass sounds and also these jangly tres sounds. I'm going to tell you more about that later on, but this guitar, there's a song I wrote on this guitar called Yuletide Song, and I'm going to do that now. And there's a feeling of a lot of warmth in it, and it does actually relate to some of the community, the people that I met in the Chorley area. There's one part of this where it says, "The good friends found their happy hats and wore them with a grin. They gathered round the homely flames and waggled off their chins." And that is actually
Glad he said chins.
It's actually a reference to some of the friends that I've got in Chorley and the nice sense of community that they have. So this is called Yuletide Song.
Okay, take it away.
The good friends find their happy hats. I started with the wrong verse because I said that at the beginning. There we go.
Well, just take two. Take two.
The crows had left the village square. The snow began to stick. The sparkly brights were hanging bold. The moonlight blanket thick. The breath of love is warm. It melts the cold away on the day that we are born. The dogs all hog the fireplace, say hello with happy licks. Contented now with wagging tails, they chomp their chewy sticks. The breath of love is warm. It melts the cold away on the day that we are born. The good friends find their happy hats and wear them with a grin. They gather round the homely flames and waggle off their chins. The breath of love is warm. It melts the cold away on the day that we are born. A magic snow lights hang in space. The moon sinks in the sky. The stars have watched us while we sleep, while crystals fall and lie. The breath of love is warm. It melts the cold away on the day that we are born. The breath of love Dead miles are called away on the day that we are born.
Wow. Very good. Very, very, very good. I really enjoyed that.
Good stuff.
So, where would you say you get your inspiration from when you're doing your songwriting?
Well, I think everything that you've ever experienced can influence your songwriting. But in a lot of cases, stuff jumps out in the head.
Yeah. So you'll see something and then it'll set a train of thought going.
Actually, that does happen sometimes. Sometimes because I use the loop machine, and I explained what that was earlier, this thing where you can build up a big soundscape.
Right.
I might be playing with the loop machine, and there'll be a sound that comes out that'll suggest a genre like I don't know, African tribal music or Eastern European, or a bit of rock or a bit of opera.
Yeah.
Or a bit of rock opera.
Yeah.
And an idea will come out of that.
Yes.
And then maybe there'll be an idea for a poem or a song or a character. Sometimes I'm making hats because I make hats too.
Yes.
And I'm a hatter.
Which we're going to be talking about in later on in the show.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Because I make hats, sometimes I'll be working on a hat. And for example, once I made this hat that was like a cross between a lobster and a seagull. And I had an idea for a song and a poem and a story that came out of that.
Yeah.
So sometimes ideas for songs can come from the loops that I'm building or the hats that I'm making. So it's not necessarily like seeing things on the street or hearing other music, or it's not like that. Some stuff jumps out from the process of what I'm working on.
Yeah. So it's as you're going about your hat making or any other creative projects, something will. Does that you say that tends to happen? It goes that way, like
A spark will
spark,
evolve
yes.
in the ether.
Yes.
Not necessarily under the light of the sun. People say there's nothing new under the light of the sun. Well, I would say sometimes there's a spark in the ether, and you don't need the light of the sun to see it.
I like that. I really like that, and I kind of agree. You know, sometimes that when you open yourself up to different experiences, different things, you see a lot more, I think, as well. But we're on about your guitar before.
Yeah.
Yes. And you say you make these. So you make these instruments.
Well,
yes.
I didn't make them because I don't have the skills to make them. I do have the skills to convert them very badly.
Yes.
I can convert them very badly.
Yeah.
And during the lockdown, because it wasn't possible to go out and find other guitar makers or luthiers, I had to do some of that myself. So I did convert some of them myself. A guitar that I have and that I use live is, I call it a Mandrake 9. And it's like a cross between this Trez and a baritone.
Okay.
Like something between a bass and a normal guitar. So it's got a low sound and it's got a jangly top sound. And these two are combined together in that guitar.
So to give people an idea, the sound would be somewhere. Now, I'm a musician myself, so baritone, I normally think of around the middle C sort of area. Right. Am I right?
I don't know, because I'm a musician, but I don't know how to write music or to read it.
Okay.
But it's about a bit lower than I can sing. The low end of it, down there.
Yeah. So it's more towards like a tenor sort of.
Lower.
Oh, lower than a tenor, right? Okay.
A fiver.
But just so, well, what I'm going to do now, you've sent me this video to play on a streaming service, which we can't name. Well, we can name it actually on YouTube. But if anyone wants to find out or actually see your guitars, where can they go online?
If they go onto that streaming service that you just mentioned,
YouTube.
and they put in Mandrake Dynasty. So when I say Mandrake, I mean like the Harry Potter plant.
Yes, Mandrake. Yeah.
The one that screams when you pull it out of the ground.
Oh yeah, from the third film. Yeah.
So you know which film it's from?
Yes.
All right, okay. So Mandrake Dynasty.
Yes.
Dynasty.
Yes.
Like dynasty in China, in Chinese history. So Mandrake Dynasty, and there you'll find videos about the collection of these guitars.
So I'm going to play one. I'm going to play one now that and it's showing, you know, showing the guitar you've been talking about.
Yes.
And so I'm just going to play a little snippet of it.
Okay, obviously I can't do the clip here on this video, but you can catch it, as we said, on YouTube. Just search Mandrake Dynasty.
Spandau Ballet there, and what's it in True? Very good song. I've always quite liked the saxophone in that song, you know, that little saxophone solo. So, are you a fan of that kind of music, Ash? Or you?
Yeah, I love saxophone.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of Spandau Ballet.
No.
I knew that song.
Yeah.
I grew up with that song in the ears.
Yeah, but it's always. I just have a good throwback every now and then. But back to
Baker Street's got a good sax solo.
Yes, very good. Yeah, I'll do like a. It's just not one of them. When you hear it, you just instantly recognise it, you know. But anyway, if you want to get, like I said before, if you want to get in touch with us in the studio, you can do so by dialing number *800 free from your bedside, or you can send an email requests at chrweb.org.uk, or find us on social media like Facebook, X, and Instagram. Just type in Chorley Hospital Radio. And then back to you, Ash. So what? You told me about this song called Time the Healer, which we're going to play in a minute, but just give me a bit more of what it is.
This is a song that was written by a guy called Dave Benison, who lived in Chorley, lived out in Exton, and used to come into Chorley a lot and knew lots and lots of people in Chorley. And he wrote this song, and he didn't play his songs publicly. He was a fantastic songwriter, but he was a bit shy about playing things live. He played me this song. It was fantastic, and we decided to record it. So we ended up recording it, and loads of other people, friends, came in on the recording as well. And now Dave passed away about 2 years ago. So this is kind of like a tribute to him. And he plays at the end of this song. So he sings and plays the last verse. And there are people in Chorley. Ginny was his friend, and Glenn Hudson and Caroline Hudson. Ian Lester was in on this video, and the kids, Sarah and Susie. And there's a YouTube video of this, but the soundtrack stands on its own. It's a gorgeous song, the words are gorgeous, and there's a feeling of hopefulness in it.
Yeah, is that the main sort of theme of this song then, like when I thought it was meant to be a upbeat, as a sort of positive message, is that what they were aiming for?
I think it's about healing, and I think it's about people seeing light at the end of the tunnel. And it kind of says, we've all been there, haven't we? Well, there's a way through this, and there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, so without further ado, this is Time the Healer. And Lola, some absolute classic rock there for you, and I still like listening to the Kinks, you know. But I do believe that they were the sort of the true founders of heavy rock, hard rock, and even possibly heavy metal. But yeah, so that was the Kinks there and Lola. And you're listening to me, Chris.
Go like this and go everybody. And then you do some speaking or some singing, and then you bring it in again like that. You bring it in again like that. And then you take it out and you do some more.
Yes.
So that's the kind of mischief you can do with the loop. And what I was thinking of doing was doing a story song using the loop machine.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah?
Okay, yeah.
Is it good for me to do that now?
Absolutely, yes.
I just need my reference note.
Yes. And...
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, and I might try to get you clapping in the studio.
Okay, yes.
In the chord.
A bit of interaction. So
yes.
go on. So go on, take it away.
A studio interaction.
Yes, studio interaction.
Our beating hearts are locked in stone, the cold of winter cracked our bones. Not thrice for our advice, and the warmth of love will bless your homes. Our beating hearts are locked in stone, cold of winter cracked our bones. Not thrice for our advice, and the warmth of love will bless your homes. Beating hearts are locked in stone, the cold of winter cracked our bones. Not thrice for our advice, warmth of love will bless your homes. Beating hearts are locked in stone, the cold of winter cracked. Not thrice for our advice, warmth of love will bless your homes. Beating hearts are locked in stone, cold of winter cracked our bones. Not thrice for our advice, warmth of love will bless your homes. Chicka 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 tab tab chicka 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 ah chicka ah. Let's get a clap going. So if you're able to clap wherever you are at this moment, clap along with this song. Here we go. Shh. There once was a man who came to a place where metal was mined and made, and this fine metal man had a fine metal plan to make it his domain. So he worked and he schemed and he laid down his plan for power, and he was so bold that after 4 short years he became the king and started building his tower of gold. Midas when Evie Pelt, you can make the ore melt with your bellows and your muscle and wood, but the tower was tall and the town gave all till their fires burnt lower than they should. Hark, said the king, wood you shall bring, with your axes search far and wide. Cut me a forest, my tower of gold, nowhere a tree shall hide. Ah, beating hearts are locked in stone, cold winter cracked our bones. Our beating hearts are locked in stone, cold winter cracked our bones. Not thrice for our advice, and the warmth of love will bless your homes. Ah, the furnace roared as they gave up their hoard, till none had wood to spare. And the king looked around and he saw they had none, and said, bring me your beds and your chairs. So they chopped and they hacked and the soldiers sacked, and a law was passed all around that fires were banned at the cost of gold. Babes in arms was shivering blue, and the old began to cry. With the cold of the winter months in their bones, the weak began to die. So 10 of the wisest went to the king to ask for the fire of life, but the soldiers dug a hole and they pushed them in and they killed them all with a knife. Ah, beating hearts are locked in stone, cold of winter cracked our bones. Oh, one more time, a beating hearts are locked, put it back away. After many long years a story spread of a magic stone that sings beneath the stone, with the bones of the wise striking fear in the heart of the king. Knock thrice for our advice was a story in their song, so a law was passed mighty fast, to knock 3 times is wrong. But there came a child of innocence, whose tongue could not be tied. She knew a word of power, that simple word was why. She knocked 3 times on the bold coast stone, and an answer came from within, light a fire upon our rock, and we'll bring you the head of the king. So the girl put a flame upon that stone, it split the earth in 2. A mighty cord spread to the forge, with a vengeance that was due. The proud foundations of the tower cracked their last goodbye, and the tumbling tower saw its final hour through the lid of a still, the lid of a dulling, The lid of a closing royal eye. Here we go! Ah, beating hearts are locked in stone. Cold winter cut our bones. The price for our advice and the warmth of what will bless your home. Oh, one last time a beating hearts are locked. Bless your homes, everybody.
And fantastic, absolutely fantastic. That was really cool. So that was Ash Mandrake. And what was the name of that song?
That's called The Tower of Gold.
The Tower of Gold. And he did that. He did that by using this absolutely magical device called the loop pedal machine. So,
Sound catcher.
Sound catcher. Yes. But we're going back to anyway. We'll do something a bit more down tempo now with a bit of Eva Cassidy and Songbird. And Journey There and Don't Stop Believing. Before that we had Eva, it's like an a cappella version of an Eva Cassidy song, Songbird, which I really enjoyed listening to that. Now back to we're into the next half, the second part of the show, and we're going to ramp the mischief up a little bit now.
Oh, it's mischievous, is it?
Yes, well, we've got a special guest, Ash Mandrake, here in the studio. Now, this next song, we were sort of wondering whether or not we should do this, but we thought, why not? Anyway, so give us a bit more information about what this song is.
About the next song?
Yes.
Well, it does use a tune from West Side Story. But it's a special tribute to all those wonderful people who, when they realised there was a world-changing pandemic on its way, so when they heard about COVID, the first thing they thought about was not you or somebody else. The first thing they thought about was when they ran out to all the shops and all the supermarkets and bought up all the bog roll on the planet and hid it under their stairs and in their garages and in their lofts and in their cellars. So it will still be there in the year 2048. The first thing they thought about was their own bonds. They didn't think about anything. And so this song is a tribute to all those wonderful people. Now, it's a very, very embarrassing, very, very silly song.
Yes.
So if you're embarrassed about singing along to this, wherever you are at this particular moment, you can sing it in an accent which is not your own. And then later, if anyone said, "What were you doing? What were you singing?" you can say, "It wasn't me. It was someone else." So you've got a disclaimer and you can get away. So, ladies and gents, I would love you to join in with this short little song. Oh my body, spotty body, it's so beautiful, it is a dream. Oh my body, lovely jubbly, especially when it is clean. All together. Oh my body, spotty body, it's so beautiful, it is a dream. Oh my body, lovely jubbly, especially when it is clean. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. Give yourself a round of applause.
Absolutely. Yes. But well, I'm going
to leave the room now. I'm going to leave you to this now. I'm leaving the room.
I never thought I'd be singing about people singing about the backsides on Hospital Radio. But then some people have done it, you know, about that kind of thing, like Queen and a couple of others. So yeah. But just there are a few things I want. It's slightly more serious, but it's this. You know, your act is all about being mischief and stuff. Is that the main thing you go for when you?
Right. There's a lot of interest to me because to have a very careful think about why I do what I do. At the end of my show, the best result for me is that if everybody in the audience feels that they have permission to behave like a big kid and do something really daft, really stupid, that's really funny, and have a scream at the end of the show. So they go on with their cheeks aching because they've been laughing so much. Now, on the way to getting to that point, I take them on a big journey, a winding journey, and I move through a whole range of different emotions. So I'll move through sad as well and say, we've been here, haven't we? And, you know, move through other emotions, anger and funny stuff, beautiful stuff. I try and do something that's beautiful and touch people with the emotion of a song or the emotion in my voice. So to say it's all about, what did you say it was?
Mischief.
Mischief. The aim is mischief at the end, but on the journey there's a lot of other things, and those are just as important.
That's it. So you like to take people, you know, you don't just play, you don't just do a show like, you know, turn up and play. It's more like there's a story to it. There's more. Would you say there's? How can I put it? Like a theme, maybe. You know.
Well, there are stories. The theme is this connection between the songs, and sometimes the connection is that they're different to each other. They're connected because they're opposites to each other. I might have something very gentle and follow it with something completely bonkers in terms of full-on adrenal engagement and massive energy. There are themes. I use characters. There's a jester. Sometimes there's a hermit. There's a ringmaster, like a presenter. There's there may be the shaman underneath. You know, there's something that's healing. If a song has got a healing vibe in it, why not? But wizards are fun. Crazy wizards. I've got one wizard called Bananas in the Sky.
Bananas in the sky.
Bananas in the sky. Musa Balbisiana, Domus Celestiana, and my skin is tinged with blue, for I am a sky banana. And that, of course, is a completely true story because I am a sky banana.
So a banana is in, you're quite bright, colourful.
No, I'm actually a sky banana.
Okay.
I have to peel myself before I go to sleep at night.
All right. So where do you? So I'm guessing you've got a few gigs lined up.
That wasn't true, by the way.
No. And you almost fool me there. You almost fool me. So what does the future look like for you now? I mean, like, have you got any gigs lined up? Is there any projects?
Yes, I do have gigs lined up. I do have projects. I'm thinking of doing some research into the whole show, but that's taking shape at the moment. The most important thing for a musician like myself is to get on the phone in September.
Yeah.
Get on the phone and pitch like crazy. We're talking telesales.
Yeah.
And I've done some telesales jobs in the past. You can do a telesales job where they teach you to do it, but if you don't get your target in 6 weeks, they boot you out. Now that's happened to me a few times. On the way, I've picked up the skills, and when I started my tiny business, that's what I used to do it. Yeah. The only problem is I'm not a natural salesman, so when it comes to trying to maintain the business, I don't always do so well with that because I prefer to just be singing, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
But you have to do the sales to get the business going.
Absolutely, you've got to put yourself out there.
So I'm booking gigs for next year now.
Yeah.
Hoping to play some in Chorley.
Yeah, cool. But before you talk a bit more about them, I'm going to go back to some music now with a bit of Bastille and Pompeii. Plus Tom Jones there and Delilah, written by a local singer-songwriter, Barry Mason. And you'll listen to me, Chris Grindley, here on Chorley Hospital Radio, or if you want to get in touch with us here in the studio, you can do so by dialing the number *800, or you can get in touch via social media. So if you want to go on Facebook, X or Instagram, and just search Chorley Hospital Radio, and you'll find us, and you'll find ways of getting in contact with us there. We also got our app as well, CHR app, which you can download from the Play Store if you're on the iPhone, or from the Google Play as well, so you can listen through them. Anyway, we've got a special guest, Ash Mandrake, here in the studio, and so before his amazing looking guitar is ready to play the next song, but before we do that, Ash, there is something I just want to ask you. What's your opinion on like the music of these days? Are you obviously, as you've been playing, I'm guessing you've seen a lot of changes in in music and like the music and the charts, and what is your take on the way things are now? I know that's a big question to ask.
It's all right. It's all right. Well, I grew up with songs which were maybe closer to live performances, as in people who went into recording studios could probably play the stuff they did live and do a decent version of it. And these days, because it's become a lot easier with machine-generated music, with computer music, it may be the case that some people can't do their music live. And so there's a possibility that it might become a bit more uniform as people use the same kinds of samples, the same kinds of apps, and just try to emulate what other people are doing so that they can be successful with it. But of course, it's not always going to be the case. There are going to still be wonderful musicians out there who are producing original music and able to play it live. And also, of course, sometimes when people produce something on a computer, solely on a computer, maybe it will be fantastic.
Yes.
As well. But it concerns me that I don't get excited about the charts, for example.
No. But
I used to.
yes, I'm kind of similar. See, I mean, I've always believed that there's always going to be good and bad. You know, there's some. I listen to not to be sort of disrespectful to anybody in the who is in the charts in a minute. I'm sure they are amazing people and very talented, but I cannot but think if this a lot of it does sound the same, very samey. So, I cannot but think like the same people behind these artists, and there's a lot, but as you say, there is a lot of good musicians out there that are not getting the notice. Do you believe that's the case?
I definitely believe that's the case, and one of the reasons I believe that's the case is that I still go to a lot of open mics, and you see fantastic musicians playing out in pubs who don't have recording contracts, may never get a recording contract, but they're fantastic.
Yeah.
And there's a whole life to pub music, which is so different doing a performance in a small place compared to a massive stage where the audience can only see the light on the stage and all the audience is in the dark, and you can't eyeball the people in the audience. When I'm in a live venue, I always make sure the lights are on the people there so I can have eye contact with them and have this interaction. There's a different world of music going on that you won't see if you just watch Britain's Got Talent or X Factor, for example. I think.
Yeah. So that, and I would say that's a fair judgment. That's a fair comment. I would believe. But yeah, I agree. But then we've also had you mentioned the open mics. And this where me and you met. It's an open mic around here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I remember that night. A friend of ours was performing. I think I performed that night as well. But and there's a lot of amazing musicians just here, even just
Chorley.
here. Yeah. And I think it's. So, what would your advice be to someone who's looking to start out in music?
Do open mics.
Do open mics.
Start performing live as soon as possible in front of real audiences.
Yeah.
Make mistakes. Get used to making mistakes.
Yeah.
One of the things I try to do when I've got a new piece is I take it out live and I try to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And then my brain is so mortified that in the night I think it sorts it all out, and the next day I'm less likely to make the mistakes.
Yeah.
Great way of learning.
Yeah. You can only you can only fail up, can't you? I suppose.
Well, yes. And the thing is also, when you perform, you will make mistakes. You're not always going to have a perfect performance, so it's important to get used to getting over the mistakes and carrying on. Because that little moment in time is going to pass.
Yeah.
When you're doing a recording, that's different. People will go back and they'll hear the mistake over and over again, but when you're performing live, you make a tiny mistake or you make a big mistake, but it only lasts for that section of time. What you can do to win it back after is get straight in there and keep going.
Yeah.
and then you can win people back.
Have you got any times when you have made a colossal mistake?
Yeah.
And
That
that you could own up to it. Is there any that you can tell us, like a sort of funny one or?
Yes. Yeah. One of the funniest mistakes I ever made was I built up a loop. I told you about the loop machine before. I'm going to give you a very quick blast on that. So I built a loop a little bit like that, well, a lot longer, for a specific song. And everyone was waiting for me to blast into this song and start playing the guitar. And I thought the loop level was a bit too high and the loop machine was down at my feet, so I had to bend over to turn the volume down. And as I bent over, there was a windowsill behind me that was very close to me. I banged my bum on the windowsill. I went flying onto my loop machine. It wiped out the loop. I fell on top of my guitar. All the guitar went out of tune. I was flat on my bass. And the only thing I could do was laugh my head off. And so for the next 2 minutes, the old pub were laughing and giggling, and we couldn't stop laughing for 2 minutes. So it all worked out really well, actually.
Well, that's one way of owning up to it, you're making the most of it, yeah.
Turn it into another thing you can do is, if you make a mistake, is do it again so that people think it was what you meant to do.
Yeah. I've got something similar. We were playing. I'm in a sort of cover band.
Yeah.
Well, no, not a cover, like a cover and originals band, and we played a gig in a venue in Burnley, and I'm pretty sure we were playing a song called Lights Out by UFO. Yeah. And as we were playing it, the actual lights did die on stage.
Perfect.
And I think it was that meant to be. But and I've done mistakes as well. I played a popular Chorley Live event, and setting up my keyboard. What I did was I plugged the power supply in, and just 2 minutes just before I was about to start my set, I walked across my keyboard, the front of my keyboard, tripped over something. Yeah. You can see where this is going. It was my power supply. Yeah. And it completely ripped at the top end of it. Yeah. With a bit where it plugged in, so obviously no keyboard.
Oh no. So did you mime?
No, luck would have it, there was a grand piano in the church. I was playing in the church at the time.
Oh, brilliant.
So I managed to get everyone to go and sit to one side, and there was I played a grand piano.
Oh, perfect.
But yeah, so that was every cloud and all that,
That was meant to happen.
That was meant to happen, yeah. So, give us a bit more. So you're going to play another song for us. Yeah. So, what's this song?
This song is called The Witching Tree, and there's an old story in folklore of a person who goes into the forest, falls asleep, and becomes part of the forest, becomes part of a tree. And I had an experience in Germany when I was working out there in the Black Forest. I drank too much, wandered into the forest, fell asleep, and then in my dream, my hair became part of the roots of the tree, and I became part of the tree.
So take it away, Ash.
I've got to play this in a funny position because I dislocated a finger recently, and I can only manage to play it by moving my body into funny shapes. Don't know which is you and which is me, but I made my bed by the witching tree, and there blessed and growled in leaves of gold, the story of ages began to unfold. And when I woke in a snowfall of webs, the seasons had built me a soft silken bed, where dreams of bright apples had colored the haze and the whispering breezes had tuned every blade. Don't know which is you and which is me, but I made my bed by the witching tree, and there blessed and growed in leaves of gold, the story of ages began to unfold. When I woke, my hair thick with roots, I drew on the water, my veins became shoots, a home for small creatures to hide from the storm. My bones became wood, and my new life was born. Don't know which is you, which is me, but I made my bed by the witching tree, and there blessed and robed in leaves of gold, the story of ages began to unfold. When I woke with the wind in my leaves, the trickle of raindrops that ran down my sleeves, a voice from the distance did call me away to the land of my dream time, where I knew I would stay. Don't know which is you, which is me, I made my bed by the witching tree, and there blessed and thrown in leaves of gold, you will hear my voice beckon as your dreams I unfold. As your dreams I unfold. Don't know which is you and which is me.
Very good. In that, it's kind of like a sort of more cross between rock and disco. Very good, but yeah, very good song. But anyway, you listen to me, Chris Grindley.
And me, Jason Connor, still in the background.
And we have special guest Ash Mandrake here in the studio with us. He's been causing all kinds of mischief. He got me to sing about our backsides. He's brought some marvellous gadgets in. But he also, one thing we want to talk about is your hats.
Yeah,
okay?
make hats.
You make hats.
I'm a hatter.
Yeah. Are you a mad hatter?
Well, people can decide that. I don't bill myself as a mad hatter, but there is an element of unpredictability in what I do, as there is the mischief of the hatter.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about that. Do you obviously you make your own? Okay.
When I was a kid, I worked in a handbag factory for a bit. When I was 14, 15, making a bit of extra money while I was doing the O-levels. And basically, pocket money, it was called, wasn't it?
Yeah. I still call it that. Yeah.
Well, the money we're on, definitely.
Yeah.
And when that handbag factory closed, they had a load of extra leather that they gave to me, a reclamation of leather. And the first thing I did was make hats. Don't ask me why, I just wanted to make hats. And I had a saucer that was the right size for my head, and that was lucky. So I had a hat with a brim that I made using the saucer to draw the pattern. And from there on, I made more hats for my show, because I'd started to play live This was all after I stopped boozing at the age of 40 and started doing things that were interesting for me and that felt right to me. And then people said, "Can you make me an hat?" And I'm a Manx, so the word hat for me has no H at the beginning and no T at the end. It's an hat. Do you like me hat? Do you like me hat? So they say to me, "Well, can you make me a hat?" Because I was in the south at the time. And so I said, "Yeah, all right." And so I learned how to make them to measure. And actually in Chorley, there's probably about 25 of my hats wandering around on people's heads in Chorley, as people have bought the hats in Chorley. Some people have got, a friend of mine, Glenn, has got about 5 of my hats, I think. So some people have been collecting the hats. Some of them have got tails, some of them are top hats, some of them are flat hats. I've got one here, which took me 250 hours to make, and is actually a prehistoric, vampiric pumpkin bud.
Interesting.
So with people not being able to see it, it's hard to describe what it's actually like. Think of a pumpkin flower. When a pumpkin plant grows and you get a flower, think of that with 5 little pouches underneath it. That's probably, and it's black and red, and there's a whole story about Vlad the Impaler that's all connected with this hat.
Okay. So where can people buy your hats from?
Well, they can't buy my stage hats. If they come to one of my shows, they can see them there. If they go to my Facebook page, Ash Mandrake, it's not the page, my actually normal account, but it's all public on there. There's a section on there saying hats for sale or taking orders for hats, and they can see all the hats that I've made on there. There's also Mandrake Hats is my label, and they can search online for Mandrake Hats. mandrakehats.com, and that will actually take them to my Facebook account where I put some of my hats up there.
Okay, well, we'll also try and put a link to your website on our Chorley Hospital Radio Facebook page, so people can see it there as well.
Great
but
stuff.
you're going to be we're just into the last 10 minutes of the show. But you've got one song left for us, so please tell us a bit about this one. It's called Unicorns.
The Unicorn song. The
Yes.
Unicorn song. Now, I wrote this for my lovely ex-girlfriend Amber, who used to like nicking stuff that belonged to me. She did it for a laugh. She didn't really nick it, but she liked to see me running around in a frenzy, going, "Where's my keys? And then she'd go, ha 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 ha, because that's the way she laughed. And I wrote this for her, and this is about the time she nicked my unicorn. Your Sunday best is kind to the eye, but I like you most when you're dressed to fly. Wings in tatters and your elbows worn, riding on my unicorn. Oh, appa! Digga-dum, digga-dum, digga-digga-dum, what's a day? I draw the curves like a swiveling bend. You took the reins, you pushed to 10. Chase the morn, greet the dawn, riding on my unicorn. Way! Woolly guest a bell, then jiggity belly belly bear, rupsy belly bell, then jiggity there, daggity there, let's head there. We crossed the sea and we rode for a day, till we found a sunlit bay. Your hair shone bright in the golden morn, riding on my unicorn. Whoa, wappa! Tick-a-dum, 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 what's it? I'm pondering who's our journey make, beats that cause the ground to quake. Not every eye on earth shall see us riding on our fantasy. Oh, woolly guest a bell, then jiggity beddly beddly bear, ripsy belly bell, then jiggity bear, daggity there, let's head there. Oh, hey! Starlight shining in your eyes, the sun I see a crescent in the sky. The dragon's breath upon our heels. Don't ask how, don't ask why. Why? Who needs a magic carpet when your unicorn can fly? The rains of night had left us cold, but dreams' adventure still rang bold. We could not let this story end. We knew we'd ride our unicorn. Yeah! Whoa, appa! Jigga-dum, 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 I said. Lay my head or to take my rest. When I awoke, to my distress, I looked around, but she was gone, riding on my... She nicked it, my unicorn!
Oh, we're brilliant.
Oh.
Yeah, that bit when you go, she nicked it.
A friend of mine actually wrote 1/3 of the lyrics for that song. That's Mark Fox Zero, who plays out in Accrington a lot.
Okay.
Oswald Twistle.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, so we've just entered the last 8. So have you got any? You say you got some gigs lined up. Is there any one you'd like to mention in particular, or any projects you'd like to mention?
Yeah, there's none in Chorley at the moment, but I've got gigs in Staffordshire. I need to get a gig sorted out, maybe in what's the name of the Lucky Eights?
Yes.
Maybe, or maybe in the Irish pub that's opened up on the main street there. I can't remember the name of it at the moment.
Yes, I know which one you mean. Yeah, it's on the bottom of Chapel Street. Yeah.
Or maybe Nelly Potts. I don't know. I need to go and ask around and see where I can get a booking, and be great fun to kick off another really fun gig in Chorley and have people doing crazy stuff by the end of it.
Yeah, awesome. So hope to see some more mischief with Ash Mandrake in sometime soon. But before we go, we're going to play a bit of Stevie Wonder and Superstition.